Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. You guys know what time it is, man. It is time for part 6 of reacting to your football hot takes. A fan favorite series on this channel. And full disclosure, after the Barca win post-match yap sessions, these are my favorite videos to make. I cannot wait to get into this. We've already done 5 parts of the series, so you guys know the drill about the intro, community tab post, blah, 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 blah. You guys know what I'm going to say. But I do want to say this. We got over 200 responses, by the way, to this community tab post. That is the most we've ever gotten by far. Thank you guys so much, man, for all the support. And shout out to everybody who submitted their hot take. It really does mean the world to me. And I got to say, bro, this is the best batch of hot takes that I've seen. I don't know what got into you guys, but all these hot takes were so good. It was really hard to pick which ones I was gonna go through, because again, they were all so good. It really, this video might be a little bit longer because there's so many I want to get to. So if you guys like the longer hot takes videos, let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, man, enough yapping. Let's start reacting to some of your hot takes. The first hot take we have here comes courtesy of Big Daddy 34616, and he says Salah is the best African footballer of all time. I'm not gonna lie, that is one of the best hot takes I've ever read. That is fantastic, bro. This shit had me thinking for a solid hour and a half. And I still don't think I have a concrete answer to this question, because it is so tough, man. The continent of Africa has produced so many all-time great players, like Didier Drogba, and Samuel Eto'o, and JJ Okocha, and George Weah, and Yaya Toure, and Roger Milla, and Michael Essien, and Sadio Mane, and countless other legends of the game. So Mohamed Salah's competition is very strong. I mean, George Weah, to this day, is the first and only African player to win the Ballon d'Or back in 1994-1995. JJ Okocha, obviously everybody knows him for his icon card in FIFA, but I've watched full games that he's played on YouTube and I've seen clips of him. He's simply one of the most technically gifted footballers of all time. Didier Drogba is one of the best big game players the game has ever seen, and he's also one of the best strikers in the history of the Prem. A guy who was a pivotal piece to Chelsea basically being put on the map. It was because of him, basically, that Chelsea won their first European Cup in their history. He scored in big tournament finals, both the EFL Cup and the FA Cup. He scored goals to win or help Chelsea win league titles, obviously. So he was amazing, of course. Samuel Eto'o, obviously I have a soft spot in my heart for Samuel Eto'o because he's a Barca legend, in my opinion, and one of the best strikers of his generation. A guy who is the only player to this day to win back-to-back trebles, and he was pivotal for both of those teams, both 08-09 Barca under Pep and also 09-10 Inter under Mourinho. And that year he knocked out Barca, funny enough. It was crazy, but obviously Samuel Eto'o is fantastic. Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah's Liverpool teammate, who won all the trophies that Mo Salah did while at Liverpool, and was an amazing player as well. But I do think saying it out loud, all those guys are obviously amazing, but to me, obviously, it could be my ignorance because I never got to see George Weah play. And people who talk about George Weah and the clips that I've seen, that guy had an eye for goal. He was a fantastic player. And he was. If you haven't seen clips of George Weah, go back and watch it. I mean, that guy was fantastic. To me, it comes down to George Weah or Mohamed Salah. I also think Didier Drogba and Samuel Eto'o are in that conversation, but to me, it comes down to both of those guys. And I think Mohamed Salah, again, it could be my ignorance because I never saw George Weah play in his prime or ever watched him live because I was too young. But I've seen Mohamed Salah over the past 7 years simply be a top 5 player in the world every single year. He came into a new league, the toughest league in the world, the Premier League, and just took over. Took over the first year he was there. There's a guy who's won UCLs, obviously, who's won every major trophy you want a player to win, who has the stats to back it up, who passes the eye test. And his peak is one of the best peaks a winger's ever, or not even a winger, a player's ever had in the Prem. And he's going to go down as one of the best players in the history of the Premier League. If he's not already, he actually is already to me, but to some people, maybe not. I don't know what you're watching. If you don't think Mohamed Salah is one of the best players in the history of the Prem, I don't know what you've been watching for the past 7 years. But anyway, moving on past that. So I think when I look at Mohamed Salah, I think his peak and what he's been able to do for the past, like I said, 7 years, it surpasses what all those guys have done before him. Obviously, I'm talking about George Weah and Didier Drogba and all those guys. Again, George Weah did win a Ballon d'Or. Mo Salah has never won a Ballon d'Or. But I think if Mo Salah, if he grew up in, if he came up in an era without Messi and Ronaldo, he'd be a multiple-time Ballon d'Or winner, in my opinion. So yeah, this is a very tough hot take, one of the, a really good hot take as well. But I'm going to agree, I think Mo Salah is the best African footballer of all time. The next hot take we have here is PSG will be fine without Mbappe. It depends what your definition of fine is. If by fine you mean they're going to win the UCL, then we disagree completely. But if by fine you mean they're going to keep winning Ligue 1, then we agree. Because PSG are always going to win Ligue 1. Because that league is a fucking joke. Yes, you get the odd year here and there where Leo win a league title or Monaco win a league title. But PSG have the most money in that league. And they're always going to be, for the foreseeable future, unless there's another takeover for one of the French teams, the most dominant team in France. But if you're talking about like they're gonna be fine like winning a UCL, no, because even with Kylian Mbappe, they haven't managed to do that. And think what you want about PSG this year, whether they get past Barca or not. I personally don't think they will. But again, set that aside. I could be biased, like some people like to call me. But even if they get past Barca, I don't think they're gonna win the UCL. I'm sorry, they will get knocked out by either Atletico Madrid or Dortmund in the next round, and then if they get to the final, they will get knocked out by any of the big boys on the other side of the bracket. So again, for me, PSG, they can keep collecting Ligue 1 titles after Mbappe once he goes to Real Madrid, because they're going to do that no matter what, and they can win Coupe de France and all that good stuff like they like to do. They can be the kings of France, you know, good for them, hooray, like yippee. But they're not going to be fine in terms of winning a UCL. Because PSG, unfortunately, the only thing keeping them relevant is Kylian Mbappe. And once he leaves, that team will go back to relevancy where they belong, because they're fucking annoying and they suck and I don't like them whatsoever. The next hot take we have here is Mats is better than Victor Valdez. That is not a hot take, my man. Marc-Andre ter Stegen is the best goalkeeper in the history of Barcelona. And Victor Valdez is not that. And as a matter of fact, in those years under Pep, when Barca were the greatest and most dominant team in the history of football, the weak link of that team was always the goalkeeper, Victor Valdez, in my opinion. Victor Valdez, look, he won, well, how many? 3 UCLs with Barca. He's a club legend because he did win 3 UCLs. Obviously in 06 in Paris, he was the starting goalkeeper for that game, 09 and 2011. So he's cemented in Barca's history as a guy who was in between the posts when Barca lifted the European Cup 3 times. So that's amazing. Obviously, I like Victor Valdez for that, and I appreciate him for that. But let's be honest here, guys. He was a average to above average at best shot stopper, and with his feet, he never gave me confidence. Ever. He was so bad when he was getting pressure while playing with his feet. He just couldn't, he had no composure whatsoever. Like, none at all. I can remember so many Clásicos where Benzema or Di Maria just like fucking rattled him and they just took the ball and scored. So many times. I remember the Clásico in December of 2011 when Barca won 3-1 at the Bernabeu. The first goal of that game was a Victor Valdez mistake playing out of the back. And Marc-Andre ter Stegen is better with his feet and much better as a shot stopper, in my opinion. So yes, that is not a hot take. When it comes to club legend, you could say Valdez is a bigger club legend, even though I would say they're kind of equal in my opinion. Because obviously, like I said, Valdez won multiple European Cups with Barca and Marc-Andre ter Stegen only won 1 so far. But again, as a player, as a goalkeeper, it's not even close, bro. It's Mats. The next take we have here, Barcelona are top 2 favorites to win the UCL. I'm delusional. I consider myself a very delusional Barca fan. I am not this delusional though. No matter how much I would want to believe this, Barca are not top 2 favorites to win the UCL. I think the two favorites, in my opinion, right now are Real Madrid and Man City. And luckily, one of those two is going to get knocked out because they're playing each other. But then after that, the third favorite to me would be probably Arsenal, and then fourth would be Bayern Munich. Even though I watched Bayern Munich play this weekend against Dortmund, I'm not going to lie, that team fucking sucks, bro. They are not good whatsoever, in my opinion. But again, you got to give them the respect, and they own Barca, unfortunately. I would put Barca at 5th. I think they're better than Atletico Madrid, and they proved it when they played them twice this season. I think they're better than Dortmund. And again, call me crazy, I think they're better than PSG, who's carried by one guy. But again, I don't think Barca are top 2 favorites to win the UCL. The 2 favorites to win the UCL are playing each other. Real Madrid and Man City. Those are, in my opinion, the 2 best teams in Europe this year. And like I said, fortunately, they're going to knock each other out. But again, no matter how much I want to believe this, Barca are not top 2 favorites. They're going to make the final, though. I believe Barca will make the final in Wembley. I'm like 95% confident they will. But then we'll see what happens there. But as of right now, they're not top 2 favorites to win the UCL. The next take we have here is R9 is better than Ronaldo. No. And I saw this take a couple of times. People were saying that R9 is better than CR7. No. And you guys know, I'm not the biggest Ronaldo fan. But this is blasphemous, bro. He's just not. Like, this is what I'll tell you. R9 has a better international career. He's a better international player far and away than Ronaldo. But that's about it. And again, R9 played with some of the greatest Brazil teams of all time. And Ronaldo, I think he's had good teams all at Portugal, but they're nowhere near the level that R9 had at Brazil. I mean, like, Ronaldo never had to Brazil when he was with Portugal. You know what I mean? So again, you can't really compare that. But R9 always showed up at Copa Americas and World Cups and all those international tournaments. And Ronaldo, unfortunately, at the World Cup, he's not even better than Mario Mandzukic, in my opinion. So again, that's separate. International career is separate. But as a body of work as a whole, it's not close, bro. Ronaldo, CR7 has a better peak. The only person with a better peak in the history of this game than Ronaldo is Messi. That's the only guy. Believe it or not, he did have a better peak, in my opinion. And obviously longevity goes to Ronaldo because R9 really, like in reality, only had 5 elite seasons because he dealt with so many injuries. And Ronaldo was great at the top of football for 15 years. accolades go to Ronaldo. In my opinion, eye test goes to Ronaldo. I think people vastly underrate. That's crazy because again, he's Ronaldo. It's like CR7, obviously. They vastly underrate how good Ronaldo was early days at United and Real Madrid, and even later at Real Madrid. This guy, and even at Juventus when he was a fucking goal machine, he excelled. Like he had so many different aspects to his game. He could be an elite goal scorer. He could be an elite playmaker out on the wing. He could do it all, bro. He had elite pace. He had elite shooting. I mean, I think look, here's my thing. I think there's a lot of nostalgia surrounding R9 because this is a guy whose career was cut short. He's such a what if, bro. Everybody talks about R9, like all the old heads that watched R9 play, they're like, oh, he's the best player I've ever seen. And I believe them because I've watched clips of R9. I've watched multiple, like hours of full games of R9. And he was fantastic, bro. He was so good. And he's such a what if. But again, we can't just just saying that he's better than Ronaldo based on what? Like based on accolades, based on eye test, because to me, both of those goes to CR7. So he really has no valid argument to be better than Ronaldo. Again, R9, one of the best players of all time. And maybe if he would have stayed healthy like Ronaldo did for 15 years, maybe we could have that conversation. But as it stands, like right now, like if we're living in reality, it's not close. CR7 is better. And you guys, again, you know, I fucking hated just doing that. I hated fucking glazing Ronaldo. The next take we have here, Zidane's Real Madrid was just too overrated. You guys just watched me defend Ronaldo, and now you're going to watch me defend Real Madrid. Do not scratch your eyes. You're truly watching a Meech No Ball YouTube video. Because this is crazy, bro. And I'm assuming you mean Zidane's Real Madrid when he was a manager, obviously, because obviously Zidane was a player and a manager. I'm assuming you mean as a manager, and that is crazy, bro. Look, man, you don't win 3 straight UCLs and are overrated. Now, you could say, and I would say, that Real Madrid under Zidane were mostly UCL merchants, because in that 3-year run, they never managed to win. They only managed to win the league and the UCL once in the same year, obviously. 2016, 2017. Or actually, I should say, this is how I'm going to say it. In those 3 years, they only won 1 league title and 3 UCLs. That's a better way to put it. They won 3 UCLs and only 1 league title and not a single domestic cup. Not a single Copa del Rey. That's not great in my opinion. But again, they were the most feared team in Europe for basically 5 years. And they were amazing, bro. The squad quality was there. The way they played was amazing. I mean, that final in Cardiff is one of the biggest dominations you will ever see from a team. And that Juventus team was nothing to laugh at. That was a great Juve team who spanked Barca and who barely conceded any goals in that whole UCL campaign, and who were one of the best defenses in Europe that year, or actually the best. Were on their way to winning a treble almost. And Real Madrid put 4 past them and dominated them completely in that whole game. So yeah, to me, again, you could say that we're UCL merchants, but when you have a squad consisting of Ronaldo in his prime, Gareth Bale or Isco, obviously, Karim Benzema, Marcelo, Carvajal, Varane, Ramos, or Pepe, Keylor Navas. Obviously, we know KCM in the midfield, Asensio coming off the bench, Lucas Vazquez, James Rodriguez, all those players, you can't just be overrated. Again, I think they were UCL merchants, but saying they're overrated when you win 3 straight European Cups, the only team to ever do that in the new format, obviously, because we know Ajax and Bayern Munich did it back in the day. No, I'm not with you on that. The next hot take we have here is Messi deserved all of his Ballon d'Or. That is not a hot take. I cannot believe we live in a world where saying that the most talented player any of us have ever seen deserved all of his Ballon d'Ors is considered a hot take. Messi never robbed a Ballon d'Or. Never in his life. He deserved every single one he got. When he won 4 straight, he was far and away the best player in the world. It wasn't even fucking close. It wasn't close. And he would have won 5 if he didn't get injured that year, by the way. He would have won five in a row. And his statistics back it up as well. In 2015, no debate about that. He was far and away the best player in the world and had the best season of any player. In 2019, I mean, dude, did he win the UCL? No. But he carried that Barca team. And honestly, individually, it's the best peak from a player that I've ever seen. Call me crazy. What Messi did in 2019 is insane. In 2021, he dragged a Barca team to a Copa del Rey and also won a Copa America with Argentina while putting up insanely good stats as both a playmaker and a goal scorer. And then in 2022, he simply had the greatest individual World Cup campaign any of us have ever seen, bringing Argentina their first World Cup trophy in 36 years it was. And yes, Holland won the treble. And if Holland would have won it, I wouldn't have been mad about it. But saying that Messi robbed it is crazy. Of course he deserved all of his Ballon d'Ors. He's fucking Messi. The same way that Ronaldo deserved all of his. Because he's fucking Ronaldo. And they're aliens. And they put up numbers. Their numbers are better than everybody else's. And their eye test is better than everybody else's. So again, Messi never robbed the Ballon d'Or. Schneider in 2010, fucking missed me with that. Come on, bro. You guys, it's really Schneider in 2010, in the middle of the peak of the greatest player we've ever seen, we gotta justify that we give a Ballon d'Or to Wesley Schneider, who, granted, amazing player, okay? I don't want to disrespect Schneider, but better than Messi, dude. Come on, guys. Let's think critically now. Come on. Is that what we want to put in the history books? Wesley Schneider winning a Ballon d'Or over peak Messi? No. So yes, Messi deserves all of his Ballon d'Ors, and this should not be a hot take because again, Messi, glazing, but it's true, is the best player any of us have ever seen. Okay, I don't care if you're a Ronaldo fan, you gotta admit it, he's the best we've ever seen. The next take we have here is Müller has a better career than Neymar. I agree with that. I think when it comes to career and trophy cabinet, Thomas Müller has one of the greatest careers in the history of football. I mean, this is a guy who's won 2 trebles. Very few players have won 2 trebles. And also a guy who's won a World Cup. Like, players who have won 2 trebles in a World Cup. Who are they? Thomas Müller, Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Piqué. I mean, all the Barca guys, obviously, and some of the Bayern Munich guys. That's it. No one else has done that. So Thomas Müller's trophy cabinet is amazing, and he's also one of the top World Cup goal scorers of all time. But as a player, obviously Neymar's better. But a career, yes, Thomas Müller has had a better career. Not on the, like, here's the thing. If you ask me, who would you rather be? Neymar or Thomas Müller? Me personally, I'd rather be Neymar. I just rather have his career. Me personally, I don't know why, but I would just rather have Neymar's career. But which trophy cabinet I would rather have? I would rather have Thomas Müller's trophy cabinet. Now, Neymar has a good trophy cabinet, but nowhere near Thomas Müller because, like I said, Thomas Müller simply has one of the best trophy cabinets in the history of this game. But again, me personally, I would rather have Neymar's career than Müller's, but trophy cabinet goes to Thomas Müller. But as a player, it's not close. Neymar is far, far, far better. In my opinion, that's not really debatable, honestly. The next take we have here is Alexis Sanchez is a much better player than Eden Hazard ever was. Where did you get that from? Absolutely not, bro. Never, never. Alexis Sanchez was never for a day in his life better than Eden Hazard. Ever. Especially not while they were both in the Prem. Absolutely not. Eden Hazard is just a better player. Both of them never won a UCL, so the trophy cabinet is pretty comparable. So if you're just looking at the player in and of itself, Alexis Sanchez was a good player. And at Barca, he had great moments, okay? He was not a flop at Barca. He had really, really good moments, and he came up big several times for us. And when he went to Arsenal, that trio of Giroud, Ozil, and Alexis Sanchez, they did some great things, okay? So I think he's a really, really good player, okay? I really like Alexis Sanchez. Also a guy whose international career is much better than Eden Hazard's. He won 2 Copa Americas and beat Messi's Argentina twice. Eden Hazard never won an international tournament with Belgium, obviously, and actually kind of underachieved with that golden generation, but that's a conversation for another day. But as a player, it's not even close. Eden Hazard is much better, in my opinion, than Alexis Sanchez. But you guys can let me know if you agree or disagree in the comment section because this might be a little bit more controversial, but I don't think it should be. I think Eden Hazard is just a better player. The next take we have here is United would be almost nothing historically if it wasn't for Sir Alex Ferguson. I agree, and at the same time I disagree. Because if we look at United with Sir Alex Ferguson, obviously 13 Premier Leagues, and they won 2 UCLs and 1 a treble. Before Sir Alex Ferguson, I think they won 7 or 8 Premier Leagues and only 1 UCL. Obviously back in 67, 68, obviously, if I'm not mistaken, with Bobby Charlton, Bobby Charlton, and also George Best, of course, when they beat Benfica in that final, 4-1, I'm pretty sure it was, in Wembley, if I'm not mistaken. It was 4-1 in Wembley. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. Someone can fact check me, but I'm pretty sure that was the score in that final. But again, like 1 UCL and 7 league titles is not really that bad. Now, Sir Alex Ferguson put them kind of on the map because 13 Premier Leagues is crazy and they became the most dominant team in the history of the Premier League era, obviously. Like, obviously Man City's fighting for that title now, but it's still to this day, it's Man United under Sir Alex Ferguson. They were fantastic, bro. And obviously winning a treble in 99 with that golden generation and winning the UCL in 08 in Moscow against Chelsea was fantastic. But you could do this with any team, bro. Like, what's Arsenal without Arsene Wenger? Barca won a UCL and won league titles before Messi, but what was Barca? Barca really became this dominant, great club, like winning, like serial Champions League contenders when Messi got there. Let's be honest, I'm a Barca fan. I think we're the greatest club in the history of football, but that's mostly when Messi got there, obviously. You know, so teams go through ebbs and flows, and you need that one figure to kind of take you over the top. And for Man United, that's Sir Alex Ferguson, who many people consider, not me, but I think the consensus is he's the best manager in the history of the Prem. I think it's Pep, but people would say Sir Alex Ferguson. But again, I agree and disagree because I think 7 league titles or 8, because Man United has 20 or 21. I think they have 20 league titles. Like 7 league titles and 1 UCL, that's pretty good, bro. I mean, let's not lie here, that's pretty good. But again, I think Sir Alex Ferguson kind of helped stamp them and put them as like he kind of helped them. He kind of helped take them worldwide, if that makes sense. The next take we have here is Mbappe will have a better first season in Real Madrid than Holland's first season at City. Here's the thing, I disagree because how do you get better than what Holland did at Man City? Like, Mbappe could win the Ballon d'Or because that's the only thing Holland didn't win. And if he does that, then yeah, it will be better. But Erling Haaland won a treble and was the UCL top goal scorer and broke every record in his first year in the Prem. And also won the Golden Boot and, you know, he did all that shit. So what does Mbappe need to do to surpass that? He needs to win a treble, which, spoiler alert, he's not going to do because Real Madrid don't win trebles. It's not in their DNA. They're never going to do that, in my opinion, at least. We know they're not built to win the treble. And then, you know, so he's not going to win the treble. We know that already. Now, is he going to be UCL top goal scorer? Probably. Is he going to win the Ballon d'Or? Probably because Real Madrid will probably win the UCL with Mbappe because he's so fucking good and that team is going to be so stacked. I'm having nightmares about it already. But I don't know, bro. I don't see how you get better than Holland's first season. That's the first season at City. I mean, that is as good a first season as you will see in the history of football. So again, I disagree. I think Mbappe is the better player, of course, but to surpass what Holland did is very, very difficult, man. The next take we have here is Jota is arguably the best striker in the Prem when it comes to consistency, finishing, positioning, etc. The Diogo Jota hype is crazy, bro. I think Diogo Jota is a fantastic player, extremely underrated, super underrated. I mean, this guy's so good. And every time he comes off the bench or he starts for Liverpool, he makes something happen. But no, bro, not even close. Obviously, Erling Haaland is better. I think his teammate Darwin Núñez is better when it comes to, like, potential. Again, I think he's even better now. I mean, Darwin Núñez, look, finishing and consistency, those are two things that Darwin Núñez lacks heavily in. Because obviously, not consistency because he's actually been consistently great this season in my opinion, but his finishing leaves a lot to be desired. He needs to work on his fucking finishing. And once he works on that, he will be unstoppable. Believe me, when Darwin Núñez gets his finishing on point, he will be one of the best strikers in the world if he's not already, in my opinion. But, like, I think he's better. Obviously, Erling Haaland, he's miles better than Diogo Jota. I think Ollie Watkins is having a better year, and I would take him over Diogo Jota. Call me crazy, Ivan Toney, he hasn't been great since he came back from that suspension, obviously, but I think he's better as well. And there's other strikers too. I mean, Diogo Jota is great. He's not the best striker in the Prem. Come on, let's be real here, guys. Come on. A couple more here before we finish up the video. Mbappe versus Holland will never be as close or debatable as Ronaldo versus Messi in their primes. Mbappe is universes and planets ahead in every facet of football. Now, I agree, but I also think that was the case with Messi and Ronaldo. I think for the majority of their career, like their whole primes basically, for the whole career, what the fuck am I saying? For their whole career, Messi was better than Ronaldo. I never thought it was close. I never thought Ronaldo was better for any single year. I don't care if Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or, the UCL, and was top goal scorer. Messi was always the better footballer. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be the same way with Mbappe and Holland. I think Mbappe is far and away the better player. I think Holland is fantastic. He gets disrespected too much, and he's a great player. He will go down as one of the greatest strikers to ever play this game because he has a skill set and he's that good. We've seen it already. But I agree, man. When it comes to like footballing ability and how good they are as players and how versatile they are, I think Mbappe is Messi and I think Holland is Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo is better than Holland, obviously, when it comes to football. It's not even close in my opinion. Like Ronaldo could do so much more than Erling Haaland could, and he can affect the game in so many more different ways. But I do think that I agree with this sentiment that Mbappe and Haaland, like Messi and Ronaldo, is going to be the same thing with Mbappe and Haaland, where Messi's always first and then Haaland and Ronaldo are going to be second. And then the final hot take here is Mourinho has a better legacy than Pep Guardiola. It's not who's the better manager, who has the better legacy. And I think yes and no, bro, because it's weird. There's such different legacies, man. I'm about to nerd out here with this shit, but this is a fascinating take to have because it got me thinking. Like, Mourinho has the legacy of being a guy who always does more with less. What he did with Porto is outstanding. He almost won a treble with that team, by the way. People forget, they lost the cup final against Benfica, I'm pretty sure, in extra time. He was this close to winning a fucking treble with Porto. A good Porto team, but not a great Porto team by any means. And they beat Sir Alex Ferguson's Man United on that, like obviously in doing so. And then in 2010, he goes to Inter and, you know, he wins a treble. He wins the treble with Inter, the first and only Italian team to this day to complete the treble. And beat Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, 2010 Barcelona, a fantastic team in doing so, and one of the best managerial performances in the history of football, in my opinion. Both the first leg and especially that second leg at the Camp Nou was a masterclass down to 10 men. I mean, defensively, it was insane. And then he goes to Real Madrid and has one of the best teams in the history of football, but never managed to win the UCL. Got knocked out in heartbreaking fashion in the semifinal against Bayern Munich. But that team was so good, man. 100 points in La Liga, the best goal difference ever. And then he goes to Chelsea, and even before that, even at Chelsea, oh my god, I skipped Chelsea. At Chelsea, won back-to-back Prems, and those teams were so good, bro, both defensively and going forward. Like in the Sir Alex Ferguson era, bro, wins 2 Premier Leagues back-to-back. And then obviously, like I said, Inter, Real Madrid, and then he goes back to Chelsea, wins another Prem with some of those, similar to that same crop of players that he had like a decade before. And then he goes to United, and he's been the best United manager since Sir Alex Ferguson left. It's not really debatable in my opinion. Who's in the conversation? Louis van Gaal and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Fuck off, no way, bro. He's been the best one since. Obviously, won the Europa League and won the EFL Cup. I'm pretty sure he won like his own little mini version of a treble. So that's the legacy with Mourinho, obviously, and then he obviously won the Euro, not the Europa League, the Conference League with Roma, the only manager in football history to win the Conference League, the Europa League, and the UCL. He did that. But then you have Pep, who is the manager of the greatest team football has ever seen, and who's managed some of the greatest teams football has ever seen, and who in my opinion has innovated football to what it is today. He's a genius when it comes to tactics. No one comes close to Pep Guardiola tactically, and he's proven that at every stop he's been at. Obviously, like I said, at Barcelona, those 4 years, 2 UCLs, the most dominant 4-year stretch in the history of football. Goes to Bayern Munich. They don't win a UCL, but they obviously dominate Bundesliga. But then he goes to Man City and takes a team who, let's be honest, like even before Pep got there with Pellegrini and Mancini, they were not a laughingstock whatsoever. But they were like a team that was kind of up and coming. People didn't really take them that seriously still. And then he takes them to be the most dominant team in football right now and the best team in the like arguably in the conversation for best team in Premier League era after Man United, obviously with Sir Alex Ferguson. And if they won 4 straight this year, how do you deny they're the best team in the Premier League era? No one has ever won 4 straight. And if he does that, that's great. That's going to be insane. Obviously, won a treble with them. Could win a treble this year again. So I don't know, bro. Like when it comes to legacy, again, the better manager, in my opinion, is Pep. I think that's pretty clear, in my opinion. I think that's universally regarded. Like Pep is the better manager. But legacy, I think Mourinho might go down more like fondly in history because, again, Mourinho never did it with the big budget. Mourinho didn't need to go out and buy all the best players. He didn't hop from best team to best team and have the backing. He won it with Inter. He won it with Porto. Obviously, Real Madrid and Chelsea is a different story, but those 2 teams where he really made his mark was with Inter and Porto, and obviously Chelsea early on. And I do think that, you know, I just did 5 minutes of Mourinho and Pep, but that's kind of crazy. But I do think that I kind of agree with this, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't have an answer. I just want to fucking yap on about this. I hope you guys don't mind. But yeah, man, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, man. If you guys made it to the end, then I appreciate you, and I appreciate you listening to me talk about Mourinho and Pep for so long and nerding out about that. But yeah, man, I love every single one of you. Let me know if you like the longer hot takes videos, by the way, because I will do more of these because I love these videos. And yeah, man, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.